on the breeze. Grind. Come up.
John Woodward is a foredeck man and spinnaker trimmer. He also is a single leg amputee and a school teacher, and also a very important part.
Still not going to run. Come on. By the way, just in case anyone was thinking about it, 3 sails have come up on deck and nobody came out of the cockpit to think about getting up there and sorting out the halyard. Right? It's a team. Do it. You ready?
If we look at it ourselves, all of us, we can all find things that we can't do or that somebody else can do quicker or better than we can. So does that make us all disabled, or does it just make us all people? It depends on how you want to look at it.
That's right. This is the repair to the gas bottles that broke in the heavy weather last night. And we're repairing it up now, so we can get a hot cup of tea. Okay, where are the bottles?
Last night was bad. The weather got worse and stayed there. Morning finds them again, bleary, wet, cold, after a night of buffeting and seasickness. Damage to the boat, suffered during the wildness of the storm, is made good, and sunshine restores the crew.
I'm a primary school teacher in charge of the 8-9-year-old children, basically, the younger ones. I have an artificial right leg. It happened when I was a schoolboy, a 15-year-old school kid. 2 of us were at kangaroo shooting late at night, and we happened to be dragging home a kangaroo for dog meat. And being young fellows, we were a little bit apprehensive, a little bit afraid of what was happening around us, pitch black at night. So we decided with the gun, the shotgun we were carrying, just to put 1 cartridge in, just to ward off dingoes or foxes. And we fell over in the dark several times, and on one of the falls, the young fellow with me, his firearm fired, and that was the loss of my limb. I've been sailing continuously for 5 years. And I find it extremely challenging from the point of view that you can't change the ocean. You've just got to be able to give and go and flow with it. You don't fight it. So I guess the feeling is of just freedom and being out there amongst the elements, and not the challenge of the elements, but being able to blend in and go with it.
David, you going to eat anything?
What sort of fruit you got left, huh?
There's apples and 1 or 2 bananas. Yeah, apples and bananas.
Yeah. I would like an apple and a banana.
You want it made up like a fruit salad?
No.
How to kill a sailmaster? You buy a book. Yeah, he made it with a book.
Did you have a piece of wood?
Yeah. Bit more green plate.
Welcome to Happy Days. Ha.
I heard a nasty rumour that you were trying to play Space Invaders while you're on watch.
Oh, well, it's not bad driving a boat with 40, 50 knots across the deck and out in Bass Strait playing Space Invaders as a team. Not too many people who can do that.
Dates.
Get a shot of a good date.
Down the east coast of Tasmania, the Carpe Diem swings along in beautiful conditions, with the crew relaxed, enjoying their friendship and soaking up the sun. Their confidence in themselves and each other is high. They've already exceeded the expectations of many. There had been some disquiet expressed about a boat with a crew of disabled people taking part in such a notoriously dangerous race. The Carpe Diem's hands had basically ignored this, secure in the knowledge of their own abilities. And so far, they have been proved right. They have come through storms and heavy seas with little incident and no crises. As a beautiful sunset closes softly around them, the gentle, relaxed mood persists. The fleet is now strung out before and after them. The leading boats are already in Hobart. They will be there tomorrow. It is a sublime moment, richly charged, that will live on as a fond memory for all of them. It is fairly obvious that the words handicapped and disabled do not really tell us anything about the crew of the Carpe Diem. Perhaps extraordinary, perhaps special, those words get nearer to the mark. For them, the issue is not that they are special, but that they are normal. They are people.
When push comes to shove, these guys can really cope with the tough stuff in ways that a lot of other sailors can't, because they're mentally tough. We don't accept a disability on our boat. If anyone tries to play on the disability or anything like that, it's just not on. Our disabilities are there, they're real, and they create problems for us. We then find a solution to the problem.
There was no camera crew on the boat. The majority of the pictures were shot by Virginia in addition to her role as a member of the boat crew. It's a small crew. Most of the time, all of them are busy running the boat. This crew firmly believes that the word disabled should be removed from the dictionary.
Scary moments on the boat happens a lot when the elements come up against you. When you have the wind gusting and the seas are rough and the boat's backing away. I do it because it's an adrenaline rush.
How far, David?
Turning around the south of the island of Tasmania, the Carpe Diem beats its way across the aptly named Storm Bay, towards the finish line in the calm waters of the Derwent River, tantalizingly close ahead. The crew are back into wet weather gear, the seas rough, the boat's rhythm broken. They slap their way through the chop.
You do actually become a family, you become a real team, and you have to, because they're depending upon you to do your job properly, and you're depending upon them to do their job properly. I mean, I've always been a loner all my life, so this is a pretty interesting experience to actually be responsible.
I think sailing and my emotional feelings about sailing, I guess the short of it is that I get a buzz out of it. I get a buzz out of, the boat, watching the speedo at times and seeing the speedo go right off the clock. Having said that, along the way, I get an awful lot of enjoyment out of the ocean and the wind and just that environment.
The story of the Carpe Diem is a great old sea yarn. Poets and writers have always celebrated the overcoming of adversity, the facing down of fate. They've always respected courage. At the finish line, there will be celebrations, congratulations, recognition. The crew are eager for the race to be run and the party begun. Of nearly 400 starters, 308 made it to Hobart. The Carpe Diem was 130th. Not quite top third, but very creditable. They were not a high-tech, racing line honours contender, but they outperformed many other crews and held their own to come in well in the first half of the finishers.
You hop on a boat and you're just going through these amazing experiences with the wind and the water and storms and everything else. And the next thing you know, you've arrived and you're on some amazing tropical island somewhere.
Sailing's a wonderful sport. It can be perfect, it can be beautiful, and it can be a fiery, stormy, rough, rugged, trying to cripple you all along. And going through that extremes of tiredness, fatigue, you get to think and you get to look at things in a different manner and aspect. And to actually finally arrive at that destination is just absolutely magic.
Would you get the main sheet in? Come on. Lock it. Up a bit out. Come on, step it up. We have to put another leg in it.
Big bloke getting a puff right now. This is anytime! Yahoo! Woo, woo.
When I think now about the fact that the official bodies that run this organisation accept us as just another team, we're just another bunch of people. 6 months ago that wasn't the case. So that's probably a pretty good barometer about the general feeling. I mean, next year we put our entry in, we'll just put our entry in, like everybody else. This crew is capable of going anywhere.
Incredible experience. It was fantastic and it was tiring, it was weary, it was wet, it was cold, it was miserable. It took to the extremes of life and all compacted into 4 days. And I wouldn't be surprised if I come back again next year.
Check that up, Al. Check it.
It was fantastic. More than I ever thought it would. I mean, we've done a few ocean races this year, and I've never done a Hobart before. And after doing this trip, you really realise what all the hoopla is about. It's quite an amazing race. The different weather that we got all the way through was just amazing.
We're here. How are you? Well done. You got here. Thank you. Well done.
I think the goal that, say, Matt or someone that's visually disabled want to achieve was to be recognised as human beings rather than to be recognised as wheelchairs. From that perspective, it's been better than we could have hoped for.
I'd do another one, definitely. Although when you're sitting on the rail at night, freezing cold, soaking wet, you wonder what the hell you're doing out there. But the good times outweigh the bad times. And when you wind up in port, this is the good times you remember. So yes, I'd do another one, quite definitely.
Good, mate. Good. Bit of everything. Absolutely.
The race was interesting. It was a challenge. It had its little elements of excitement in it. We had some pretty strong winds, some big seas at times. But overall, it was a fabulous adventure.
When you think of the boats that got knocked out of it, I don't know, it just makes you feel. It makes you feel better that you've actually done it. And to look at the paras sort of on the winches, you know, and and Albert up the foredeck there, you know, with no legs at all, and the guys with one leg, and the guys that can't see, and the guys that can't hear, and then you really start to think about it. You think, geez, we really have achieved something.